speed study.
Well-
Sorry, I got trains in the brain.
Another tree study?
Another speed study,
Well-
because I don't think that's going to do anything.
Just so you know, Jessica, we can't control the speed limit. That is the process, and they have the final say.
Is there any way of just giving them that sort of context to say, you can do another speed study, but people aren't speeding. It's just too darn high.
We can forward your letter and hope that somebody reads it.
All right.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think maybe the best thing to do is maybe to talk that gentleman right behind you and just say maybe Chief of Police could send a patrol down there 1 or 2 more times if that's possible.
What she's getting at, though, is that the speed limit is at a point that to cite people for speeding, you're up into numbers that just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, who could drive? You couldn't drive 60 miles an hour.
No, they're not
make it.
speeding. That's the thing.
But if it's reckless, is all I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
But if it's within the speed limit, you're gonna have a hell of a time ascertaining that it's reckless.
We'll do our best.
Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Brief. This is why I came. So, Evan Roden, 2037 Grover. I am asking that the town does take some sort of action, maybe a letter, maybe a personal conversation with I assume it's a county road, that is setting this limit. I know that in the past, conversations between members of the board have allowed for changes in state or county plans, so I'd love to see the same sort of effort made here. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is some housekeeping. Can I have a motion to increase lines A00-2056-0000-000 and line A00-7310-4000-001 by $5,730 each to represent a revenue increase?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
second.
Second by Lou. Comments or discussion?
Nice job, Chris.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the architectural engineering agreement for the work on Shear Avenue over Tannery Brook with Azar Design?
So moved.
Motion
So
by
second.
Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the architectural engineering agreement for the work on Cornwall Road over Cazenovia Creek with Azar Design?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Lou. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a temporary use permit. Can I have a motion to approve a temporary use permit for the Lions Club to hold a drive-through chicken barbecue on Knox Park on May 11th?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Boy, if you want to sneak something in, now's the time, because no one's going to notice. Everybody's just absolutely exhausted.
Everybody's sleeping, huh? And lastly, for new business, can I have a motion to approve a request from John Simperman to hold an event on February 15th, known as Brewski at Knox Farm? This has been something that we've done for other years, and it's always gone well. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. Under communication, I've got the Town Clerk 2024 Annual Report. I've got the December 2024 reports from the Town Clerk Tax, Town Clerk Water, Town Clerk, Senior Center, Building Department, Dog Control, and Work Requisitions. I have the Association of Towns Training Center notice, a letter from Lindsay Larigo regarding the Senior Center Public Benefit Funding, and the Supervisor's Report from December 2024. Business from board members, and we'll start with Ray.
Real quick, comprehensive plan, I did ask Labella to send directly to you, Martha, the invoice for the mailing, so that should happen quickly.
Okay.
We have a basement meeting,
Are they sending their invoice to us?
that was their invoice. that
No,
I
that's
forwarded.
not, that invoice is from
That was from.
whatever that company was.
Right. We need,
Two Labellas.
we need an invoice from Labella because there was a change.
All right, I'll touch base with them tomorrow morning. Okay.
Give me a call if you'd like.
Yeah, definitely will. Then we have a basement meeting, additional meeting scheduled of members of the steering committee that would like to participate, essentially, mapping out, bottlenecks, issues where we want to see development, what type of development. So that's on the 23rd here in the meeting room. Then our regularly scheduled meetings on the 11th. So we called the special meeting to catch up. We ended up running out of time at the end of the last meeting. So this will allow us to spend an hour and a half directly on that project. And then, public workshop will be February 26th, at the East Aurora High School cafeteria. So that is, of course, open to the public. Part of the mailing is ensuring the fact that everybody in the town will have information on that and understand that that's the date of the meeting, and come on down and participate. And Luke mentioned again, the survey, we've extended it through the end of February. So if you haven't done it, or if you have friends, neighbors, whatever, please participate and give us your feedback.
You know the updated figures?
I haven't touched base directly with Jason since the first of the year. So it was well over 400 before. So be interesting. And I have about 25 that we got from the senior center paper that we'll add to that total. And then real quickly, I think we're going to have to reboot on these trail markers for the trails on Majors North and South and Nicely Park. I don't know if there's a communication error or what, but we got a final invoice for what they would charge us if we gave a go for the project, and it ended up being 59% higher than the cost that we talked about. So I'm going to touch base with them tomorrow and find out what changed. Is it supply chain issues? What is it? So we'll try and get to the bottom of that. And our color selection has been reduced as well. So,
Yeah, they're figuring it out over there at the high school.
exactly, yeah. Startup business, that's what happens.
You tell the school, we don't have the same coffers as they do.
Yeah, the kids. Yeah.
And that's all I got.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, you bet.
Joe?
Up to my eyeballs in tree stuff, so I will just use my time to congratulate Councilman Lachinski. The governor signed a law today mandating all towns to go to .gov, and we are going to be ahead of everyone else. So good luck stealing Town of Aurora, New York .gov from us.
Nope,
So
no
good job.
stealing.
Yep.
Can't do it.
We have a meeting on Wednesday, right?
Yep.
About that?
Yes.
So Nick will come in and we'll talk about.
Nice,
How
good.
to make a good,
We're-
I guess, the decisions.
We're a big chunk of the way there already. Yeah, thanks. That's all I got.
Well, on that note there, we just received notification today that Governor Hochul has made this mandatory.
That's what I'm
what
saying,
now?
no.
Is what?
Governor Hochul has passed a law.
No, that's what I said, yeah.
This is mandatory.
Yeah, that's what I was congratulating him on. We're ahead of the curve. Because now we have to do it whether we like it or
Which
don't.
we have to, so it's,
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
I talked to the governor, I was like, can you help me with this? And he passed the law.
yeah, you've got a lot of clout there, Luke, that's for sure.
Good pull.
The other thing on my end, I hope on the when's our first work session that we have?
Wednesday,
It's the Wednesday,
Oh, yeah. I forgot I agreed to this.
Is it next week? When, next?
No.
No.
it would be the 22nd.
yeah.
So on the 22nd, if we can have time to go through it, I do have, like I said, the Excel of all of our climate smart community initiatives that we can go through, and we'll talk about what we think we want to, what we don't want to.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that we have outstanding is, unlike before, we want to be a little ahead of the curve, have projects before we get the money. And the one that actually looks, so the Governor Hochul released a ton of money for climate smart communities. And I think that we have an offer coming in from a solar company, local guy here, Jim, will be in February, and we may be able to apply for that so that we get that covered, so our electricity bill will be zero for the foreseeable future. So that's one thing we should talk about as well, is like that or other projects. So if anybody can go on and look and see what the type of projects are that we could do, take a look and we can have that conversation.
If you would just so everybody knows here, just send me some, and Martha, a topic that we want to cover in the work session.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Will there be an agenda for the work session, or
Yeah.
will that
Not
come
we
out?
can't talk about other things too, but at least we'll have an agenda.
So we'll get some kind of agenda prior to the
Preparation
work
and so
session.
on.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, got it.
anything else, Lou?
No, I think other than that, we're cruising along.
I had the pleasure of attending the quarterly Central Police Services meeting, and as a liaison to the Erie County governments, as always, it's really interesting, but this part was kind of the highlight, and I'm sure Chief knows this, but they have a DNA, a quick DNA, I forget, it comes back with the results of a DNA test in 90 minutes. And hopefully by the end of this year, that will be up and running. So I really thought that was, it's actually a very interesting meeting. I mean, although they use a ton of acronyms, which I don't know what that means, but other than that, it's great.
DNA and
Yeah. DWI. All right. Thank you, Luke. It's always a pleasure.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what that acronym, actually, the full,
I know it's nucleic acid, something
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
nerd.
Anyone from?
You just took a
under-
stab there, right?
Under audience two, anyone want to address the board on any subject? Seeing no one, go on to staff reports, and we'll start with Liz.
Nothing tonight.
Chief?
Oh darn.
I'll give you a little bit. All right, so since I've seen you last, we've had a lot happen. First of all, the police department is running smoothly operationally. However, I just wanted to update the board. I'm sure you've got some questions. On December 19th at 11:22 a.m., I was notified that a plane had crashed near Stewart Court. So if you haven't seen my press releases and you haven't read the newspaper articles, a gentleman named Paul Marsh, a well-traveled pilot, was traveling from Lansing, Michigan, en route to White Plains, New York, to visit family. His 1979 Beechcraft A-36 single-engine airplane was having a hard time generating power. He did radio, Buffalo Niagara radio tower, or air traffic control, told them he was having a hard time generating power. They originally indicated that they would set aside a runway for him at the airport. He told them he didn't think he could make the airport. They set aside a runway for him at the Lancaster airfield. He didn't think he could make the airfield. He was losing altitude. His last radio transmission was that he was going to try to put it down in a field, and he did try to do that, and he did do that in the town of Aurora. Unfortunately, it sounds as if the power loss was preventing him from steering as well. And the preliminary reports from the NTSB are the common sense behind it, that he had a mechanical issue, and he wasn't successful in his last-ditch effort, if you will. So we worked that. We were first on scene. We remained the lead agency locally. We did have assistance right away. I got a phone call. I was out of town, unfortunately, about an hour out of town when it happened. So the Orchard Park Police Department works very well with us, and they were on the ground with my guys for the 50 minutes or a little less that it took me to get there. And we worked well with them. We had some help from the Sheriff's Department, the State Police, and obviously the NTSB came to town the next day with the FAA, and we maintained on scene either a detective or one of my officers for about 52 hours, I think, total straight, helping them, conduct the investigation and oversee the removal of the aircraft from the area. It did, the fortunate part of it is that it didn't hurt anybody on the ground. It landed in between two houses, probably about 150 feet from both houses. And it didn't, obviously we were upset with the loss of life of the pilot, but at the end of the day, we were just grateful that it was minimized down to that and that we didn't lose any civilians on the ground. And at this point, we're just waiting for the NTSB to reach out to us with their final conclusion. They remove the airplane, they remove all the sections of it, they take it back to a hangar, most of the time in Massachusetts, and they conduct an investigation where people that are much smarter than me do measurements and take into effect how much fuel was in the plane. They'll go through the wiring. They basically dissect it and try to come up with a reason as to what happened and why it happened. So outside of that incident, Cavalcade was well attended. I know it's a village event, but it's a greater community that you guys are all part of. Estimate a few thousand people showed up for that again. It was a Norman Rockwell Saturday night with the snow falling and everything, and we reported no issues public safety-wise. So outside of that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Chris?
Not much here. I know it's snowing out, so of course we're planning for summer right now. We've mailed all of our previous staff letters requesting applications, so we're trying to work through that. And right now our credit cards are going smoothly right now. I know there's some very minor hiccups, which I do not want to make public, but I can tell the board at other times it's really nothing big. But other than that, everything's going well.
Thank you. Paul? Doug? No. Okay. We have an executive session tonight, so we'll give everybody a few minutes to clear out, and then I will make a motion to enter into executive session.
Second?
And I have a,
Did you make the motion, or?
sure, I'll make the motion to move into executive session. Luke, second. Any comments or discussion? No. This is on some litigation. All in favor?
Aye.